Hello everyone, my name is Olivia, and today I wanted to recommend you a couple of books that you can pick up if you're feeling stressed and you want a form of escapism. So when I'm feeling stressed, I usually gravitate towards shows or movies, but I know a lot of people will want to gravitate towards books if they are very stressed and tense and they want to just escape their world for a moment and dive into a fictional one. So the first book that I want to recommend you is Rafe by Rebekah Weatherspoon, who is one of my favorite romance authors, and romance is a genre that I generally gravitate towards if I'm feeling stressed out, if I want something quick to read and I just want to dive into a book without having to put a lot of effort into it. So Rafe follows our main character, Rafe, who is a male nanny, and he gets hired by this very successful surgeon who has these two daughters and is very busy with her job, and she needs someone to watch them after her previous nanny just recently quit. So this romance is between Rafe and Dr. Sloan, who is the mother of these two daughters, and they form a very strong connection with one another, and they kind of start out as a forbidden romance because they know they should not be falling for one another because it's very unprofessional. It's going to ruin the dynamics of this new nanny who is in this house, but their romance is just undeniable. The chemistry they just cannot ignore, and it is just such a wonderful romance. Rebekah Weatherspoon is the queen of chemistry, and it's just palpable on the page from the beginning of this story. I read this book in one sitting because it's a very quick romance to read, and I just love the dynamic between Rafe, who is just a very calm, collected type of man, and Sloan, who is successful and driven, but also deeply cares about her children and wants the best for them. So if you have not read a Rebekah Weatherspoon romance, I would highly recommend starting with Rafe because it was an amazing quick read that just put a smile onto my face and made me forget about the world for a couple of hours. The next book that I have to recommend is also a Rebekah Weatherspoon romance because they are just so great, so quick to read, and I have never not really loved a Rebekah Weatherspoon romance because she just writes them so well. So this one that I have to recommend is called Xeni. Xeni has recently lost her aunt, so Xeni goes to her aunt's house to hear the will being read, and the lawyer tells her that she's able to receive the very big inheritance that she was promised if and only if she agrees to marry a man named Mason who was friends with Xeni's aunt when she was previously alive. Xeni then meets Mason, who is a Scotsman who lives in the tiny town that her aunt lived in. He's a very soft, very lovable man who is so sweet, and Xeni's aunt decided to pair these two up into a marriage of convenience because she knew that they would be perfect for one another. So in order for them to receive their inheritance from the aunt, they have to marry each other, even though they do not know each other. It sounds so utterly ridiculous, but it is so wholesome, so sweet, and like I said before with Rafe, the chemistry is just off the charts with these characters. Their banter back and forth is wonderful. The way that they get to know each other slowly but surely is beautiful, and the steaminess and the romance is just so palpable. It'll like leave butterflies in your stomach. I just love Rebekah Weatherspoon's romances so much because they feel so authentic and real, and it feels like a movie in your mind, and it's something that once you pick up you never want to put down, and it was just such a great story that I loved as equally as Rafe. I feel like I loved both of these stories so much. The next book that I have to recommend is a very soft YA story that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think I read in one sitting as well, and it is I'll Be the One by Lyla Lee. This follows our main character Sky, who is plus-sized and Korean, and she decides to enter into a K-pop competition where they have singers, dancers, and a mix of the both. So Sky decides to enter this competition because she wants to be the next K-pop idol, and this is the competition that will allow her to do so. But a lot of people don't believe in her because they have very strict standards when it comes to being a K-pop idol, and they think that she won't make it because she is plus size. So Sky enters this competition against everyone else's judgments, and she just puts herself out there and she enjoys herself, makes new friends, and just proves to the world that she can become the next K-pop star. So this YA is perfect for people who love K-pop, people who love soft contemporary novels, And for stories that have a lot of heart but also deal with some very important topics like the beauty standards in the K-pop industry, the strained relationship between Sky and her mother, and the soft and beautiful relationship between Sky and her supportive father. This book has so many different aspects that I love in YA contemporaries and wraps it up beautifully in a very fun and airy type of novel that you would just absolutely fly through, because once I started reading it, I just could not put it down. It was just so entertaining and soft and light, and that's exactly what I think people would need if you are feeling stressed out, if you want some form of escapism. The next book that I have to recommend doesn't necessarily have a plot, but is more a vibe in itself, and it is Whereabouts. Whereabouts is a novel told in vignettes about a woman's life as she is just walking through her city, living her daily life, interacting with those she knows, and she's slowly transforming into a person that she wants to be. Whereabouts is a meditative, slow-moving novel that will suck you right in with its beautiful prose and vivid types of descriptions about this woman's life, where we're watching these very seemingly mundane moments, but they all kind of form into one collective look at someone's life. And it kind of teaches you that these small moments in your life that you may not think is important actually make up your whole entire existence. This is the type of book for those who don't necessarily need hard-hitting plots to dive into a story, for those who like character studies, for those who like just atmospheric settings that they can dive into and just enjoy the beauty of writing. Another novel that is absolutely beautiful and feels like a warm cup of coffee in a way is Writers and Lovers. I picked up Writers and Lovers on a whim because so many people were recommending it to me and told me that I should pick it up for those who are feeling lost, for those in their 20s, for those who have a very creative type of mindset. And I think that if you were in any of those veins, you would definitely enjoy Writers and Lovers. This follows our main character, Casey, who is trying to find her place in life. She just recently moved to Massachusetts and is in a very unhappy type of living situation where she doesn't like her job, she doesn't like where she lives, and she wants to become a writer. So we follow Casey on this journey as she finds herself. She figures out her place in life, and she finds friends and lovers along the way, and she is learning more about herself with every moment in her life. This definitely deals with the transitional moment in one's life where you are making new friends, you are finding a place for yourself in a new state or in a new home, and you are falling in love with different people, and you are learning more about yourself through the relationships that you make with others. I just greatly enjoyed this novel so much, and it also kind of deals with the loss of the main character's mother, because that is what really sets the whole story in motion, and that was kind of the tipping off point for this transitional moment in her life. So if you enjoy all those things that I listed, I think you would greatly enjoy Writers and Lovers. It's perfect for those who love writing themselves. It's perfect for those who are creative and sad and lost and people in their 20s. I feel like this is perfect for people in their 20s, even though our main character is in her 30s. I feel like your 20s and your 30s are those two decades where so many different things are happening at once, and you're learning so much about yourself and you're reinventing yourself every single day. And I think that that's what Writers and Lovers capture so beautifully and so effortlessly. This is one of my favorite books of 2021, so I would highly recommend it. It's such a fantastic novel. If you are looking for another romance to dive into to forget about the world and just have a grand old time, then I would highly recommend The Love Hypothesis. Yes, you have seen it on TikTok. Yes, you've probably seen it on Bookstagram. Yes, I'm going to recommend it here. The Love Hypothesis is such a wonderful romance between a PhD student and a professor at the university that she attends. So we follow Olive, who is studying to get her PhD, when she has to concoct this fake dating type of scenario with a very gruff, very aloof professor at the university that she attends. He is known for not having a lot of friends. He is known for being very mean to others, but they begin to fake date one another and uphold this very absurd type of situation in front of others. The Love Hypothesis is one of the few books in 2021 that I just thoroughly enjoyed myself with. I just wanted to read it at all times. I read it for most of one day that I was off of work. So if you love the fake dating trope and the grumpy and sunshine trope as well, then you would love The Love Hypothesis. And it was just It was just a cup of sunshine, if that's the way I can describe it. If you are looking for a pick-me-up, if you are looking for something to put a smile onto your face, you have to try The Love Hypothesis because it was just amazing. It's totally worth the hype. I listened to TikTok for once and I picked it up and really enjoyed myself with it. I went in with no expectations at all and it was a 5-star read for me. It was fantastic. I had a great time with it. And lastly, if you're looking for a nonfiction that you can read maybe a chapter a night before bed in order to wind down, or you can read in one sitting in order to take your mind off of everything and feel a little bit more hopeful in life, then I would have to recommend The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This is actually based off of John Green's podcast, The Anthropocene Reviewed, where he discusses many different aspects of life and he goes into detail into the history of it, like the history of the QWERTY keyboard, the history of dinosaurs, the history of plagues, and he also goes into different topics like his childhood growing up, the different embarrassing moments in his life, when he met his wife, how much he's in love with his wife, and this nonfiction just really encapsulates the beauty of humanity and the beauty of society. If you are feeling down and if you feel like there's no hope in the world, I feel like you should definitely pick up The Anthropocene Reviewed because it was beautiful, it was insightful, it was a great reminder of the complexities of humanity and how far we've come as a society and the different aspects of our history that you may not know a lot about, and John teaches you about it. And if you want to listen to the audiobook, he actually narrates it, so it feels very personal because he mixes together science and history while also talking about different moments in his life. So it feels personal, but it's also very educational, and it's just the perfect mixture of everything you would need in order to feel hopeful. And John really reminded me that there is beauty in the world, there is beauty in the future, and there's beauty in hoping and keeping that hope alive. And it is one of my new favorite nonfictions that I definitely do want to get a copy of because I do want to highlight the different passages that I really enjoyed that stuck with me. But if you're looking for a nonfiction out of this whole entire list, that's the one that I would have to recommend to you. So those are some books that I would highly recommend if you are ever feeling stressed out and you need something to help you wind down, feel a bit comforted, and help you escape life for a bit. Because all of these books, I think I sat down and read in a couple of sittings, and I think that these are the perfect types of reads for when you just want to escape the world and you just want to dive into a fictional one. I'm also going to tag a couple of my comfort YouTubers down below because like I said before, when I'm stressed out, I don't necessarily read. I usually gravitate towards something visual like movies, TV shows, or YouTubers. So I'm going to tag a couple down below that I gravitate towards when I'm feeling stressed out and I just want to forget the world and just want to learn about someone else's world. So if you are feeling stressed out, I hope you feel a little bit better in the future and I hope tomorrow is kinder to you. Thank you to everyone who leaves very kind comments and likes my videos and shares it. That support means the world to me, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to offer other people comfort the way that my comfort YouTubers offer me comfort. So I hope you all have a wonderful day and I will see you very soon. Bye!